Do you have a favorite Bret Hart match?
Yeah. Oh, I have so many. It's funny because like my husband and I have a dungeon. We have a dungeon. We call it the dungeon, but it's like where we model it after where we train.
And by the way, if you're not a wrestling fan, that could be a completely different thing.
Yes. Well, it's not. It's not only cats, but it's. But it's, my grandfather had a place where he would train the greatest pro wrestlers in the world. It was called the Dungeon.
Of course.
And so it's funny. I'm so used to doing television at TV, so I'm thinking of you as the hard cam. But really, it's you I'm talking to.
It's the same thing.
But
we're talking to everybody out there.
Yes, the people, the masses.
Yes.
But we have a dungeon that we train in, and
you have a ring set up there.
We have
so many people have talked about how much they love
yes.
training with you and TJ.
And we love our training. It's very, very special to us, and we just stay ready. I always say to people, don't get ready, stay ready. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm so blessed to be able to have that ring, and it's a WWE ring. My husband, we basically, he asked for it, and TJ has such a great relationship with, talent. It's so nice to be able to have people that go, hey, I need help. And so we can, he especially works with them and helps them. A massive amount of people have come to him for help.
So you've completely avoided my question of your favorite Bret Hart match.
Oh my gosh. I forgot what the question was. I got off on a tangent. I would say my favorite Bret Hart match. I know I'm so biased. I'm so biased. I would say Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10, Madison Square Garden. It was the greatest WrestleMania opener of all time. I always tell people, if you want to be a wrestler, if you want to do this, if you want to get into this, watch that match. Because it was about simple, a lot of people would say Bret versus Steve Austin or Bret versus Shawn Michaels. Because only Bret could make a 61-minute Iron Man match. Bret and Shawn could make that match exciting. Everybody else would be like, oh my God, how are we going to get through an hour of wrestling? And then they did an extra minute. That was a phenomenal match. But I just think from a storytelling standpoint, the simplicity and the beauty of Owen versus Bret, and then Owen getting that, I'm always for the underdog. And Bret, a lot of people don't know this, but Bret was a huge catalyst for Owen getting a big push in WWE. Vince McMahon, there was a different direction they were going to go with Bret that year, and it wasn't with Owen. And Bret stood up and said, no, I want Owen to have this moment. I want him to be a part of this match. I want him in this. And it was Bret that, I love that he stood up and, fought for his brother, but, the storyline was that they were fighting against each other when really Bret was creating this magical moment that now has lived on forever when you think about, great humans. Yeah. Owen was just played the role of this bad guy, but he was such an amazing person, and he and Bret manifested that magic. So that's my favorite Bret Hart.
I feel like the answer to what's your favorite Bret Hart match, the answer is yes. Him versus everybody's.
And he just had a way of elevating everybody that he worked with, and that's true leadership. That's you look at his work and it just stands the test of time today, where you see it and it's so real, it's so believable, and I know people think sometimes too that Bret is very serious about his career. He doesn't take every single match he just took so seriously, and I think that's so important to have that pride.